Hey everybody, this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute, and you're listening to my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, where we discuss the importance of purpose in our everyday lives. Discovering and living out your purpose keeps you focused on God's purpose. That is sharing the good news of salvation with others. This podcast is for people like me, still searching for the answers to who am I and why am I here? You and I were designed and created by God for purpose, and we have much to do. You can listen and subscribe to my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose with Brenda Devine on Anchor and all other podcast platforms. Hey, this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute. And I started earlier with the episode on about me, about you, and distractions. And I just wanted to share a little bit about myself. But now I want to segue into talking to you about you and also talking about distractions. So you, me, we're humans. We're on this earth. We're learning to navigate through life, and we can be our biggest obstacles. We are so ingrained in ourselves. We are so ingrained in the society that we live in, the messaging, our upbringing, what we think, what we feel, and we can be our biggest obstacles. And some of those obstacles or distractions, they can be social, they can be emotional, they can be relationship-wise, they can be so many different things. We have so much messaging coming at us from different ways, of different places. We have our family, our friends, movies, social media, our jobs, our careers, our businesses, our community. There's just so much messaging of who we are or who we should be. And it's just a lot. And often we get overwhelmed and sometimes just distracted. I'm going to say that my life was distracted following the storyline of having a career and just doing all the things that I had read and was told and taught to do. I got distracted with a lot of things. And the problem with distractions is that it keeps us busy. It keeps us so busy about things that may have some importance, oftentimes not much importance, just to keep us busy. And even the good distractions. I mean, we all have labels. We all have distinctions: mother, father, sister, brother, friend, co-worker, employee, boss. We have all kinds of labels that we live in, and that can distract us too. So how do we get past that? How do we recognize that we have distractions? So I'm going to give you an example that I like to use because I think it's really important to know where you are so you can be present, to realize what is taking up space and time in your life. And so one of the examples that I like to use is an example of standing in a huge field, a grassy field, on a sunny day. And on this field, you're on one end. On the other end, there is God's presence on the opposite end. But in the middle, there is a forest of trees that are blocking your vision, that are blocking. I mean, you know God's on the other side. You want to get there, but you have all these distractions of things and people and emotions and circumstances and challenges that are keeping you from being in God's presence. And I want to challenge you and say, what if you thought about yourself on this field and started to identify what those distractions are? Now, mind you, they could be good distractions. They could be bad distractions. They can be indifferent distractions, but they're still distractions. So what is keeping you from making space, making time, moving those distractions over so that you can have a view, that you can get closer to God and be in His presence? So I just want you to think about that as to what are your distractions. Now, it could be fear, also it could be emotions, it could be something that's happened to you in the past, it could be grief, it could be sadness, loneliness, it can be shame, it could be sin, it can be a multitude of different things, but you have to identify those distractions for yourself. So what I'd like you to do, what I'm going to ask you to do, and I do this for myself as well. If I see something that I'm doing, I'm looking at it going, okay, is this taking space away from me being closer to God? And I think I know that when you spend some time thinking about these distractions, because often they're subtle, we just get comfortable. We get used to doing what we do, and we might not even realize that it's a distraction. So spend some time with yourself, meditate on it a little bit, think about what could possibly be your distractions. I want you to just come up with just three things. And think about those 3 distractions. If you have more, great. You can write them down and you don't have to share them with anyone. Write them down for yourself. Identify those. Keep them close. Think about them. Meditate about them. Pray about them if you want. But just think about them as what could be keeping you from having a better relationship, a new relationship, just having a relationship with God. So I'm going to say this also, that those distractions, when you identify them, that if you could move them over or eliminate them, that creates a space for God. So you've got all this space filled with distractions, but what would happen if you created some space for God? So I just want to leave you with that. I want you to think about those 3 things. And then the next time we catch up, we'll talk about distractions. Okay? So this is Brenda Devine from Purpose 8 Institute. Hey, I just want to thank you for spending time with me. And I will talk to you in a bit. Thank you for joining me on my podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, on Anchor and all other major podcast platforms. To learn more about Purpose 8 Institute and our ministry of sharing the importance of purpose, please visit our website, www.purpose8institute.com. You can also find us on Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, and even TikTok. If you would like to learn more about purpose beyond this podcast, Living a Life of Purpose, you can also purchase one of my books that are available on my website, purpose8institute.com, and also on Amazon.